Welcome back to Tabletop Assault. I'm Ross, and today I'll be looking at some of the Aeldari news, some of the stuff we saw on Tyranids incoming, but also speaking about is where is the chaos? It's been a while and people are looking for rules, but we may have models coming in, but no rules seen yet. So with all the things coming and being discussed at the moment, I thought I would give a few of my thoughts on each of these three factions and where they might be going in the future. First up, we'll quickly speak about the Aeldari. Now, the Codex has now been confirmed, which I'm going to assume is going to come out between 2 to 4 weeks after Eldritch Omens. I would more or less lean towards the sooner rather than later, just because when it came to the Custodes and the Gene Stealers, they said it was going to be late and it was only about 4 weeks after each other. So I do imagine they want to try and keep them largely together when they do these box sets. Now, the interesting thing is that a lot of these were rumoured to come out in terms of long rumour that we'd seen, and you know, the new models we are getting are things like the Avatar of Cain, Shining Spear, Guardians, Ranger Bikes, etc, etc. We have already seen. I won't list all the new models, but we have seen a large amount that are getting a bit of an update and are getting just a new breath of life, or in the case of the bikes, we're getting the new Ranger Bikes, new units. The rules for the book are 200 pages long, just about rivaling the Space Marine book, which is pretty cool. Not entirely the same, I think the Space Marine still just edges ahead, but still very cool. You are getting Harlequins, Ynnari and Corsairs, all now confirmed to be within the book. Now, that was something that was rumoured a very long time ago, so it's very interesting to see. Again, one of the rumours that's been persisting throughout the past year has came to fruition. Many of the day sheets have leaked already. Now, we have seen Avatar of Cain, Wraith Knight, Wraith Blade, Wraith Guard. A lot of the day sheets have already leaked, and it's a lot of speculation to say how that might have happened. But either way, they have been out there. I won't put out any links, but you can obviously search them as you wish. A popular leak that did come out, which I've been referring to, which was a long time ago, which saw Black Templars, it saw Custodes, saw Gene Stealer, it saw Aeldari, and interestingly, a lot of Chaos as well. All of it so far seems to really be coming into fruition. Maybe one or two details might be a little bit off, but overall, things seem to have been exactly as this rumour came about. I see that the Craft World community is largely quite happy with this. I mean, they've not had new models in a very long time, or at least they have had new models such as the Howling Banshees, but a lot of the range was just looking very aged. The Avatar of Cain is fantastic. Maybe they could have done with something a little bit closer to Adeptus Sororitas, where it's a whole range update rather than select units, but maybe I'm being a little bit picky on that one. After all, War Walkers, they could really do with a bit of an update as well. It does follow an update where we see a lot of the updates, such as the Orcs, Necrons and way, that they do seem to want to update HQs, and they do want to update troops. So you have your basic troops, you saw the Orc Boys get updated, you saw Necron Warriors get updated, now you're seeing Guardians. You then see usually an HQ, which with the War Boss in the Mega Armour for the Orcs. I think Necrons, they got quite a few new different HQs, but that's because of Indomitus. And then with Craft Worlds, we are seeing a new Autarch, and we are seeing special characters as well. So there is sort of almost a formula of updates there as well. And I would almost put this speculation, but I don't think it's going to be as big for the Craft World, is that you do see a new way to play with Orcs. It was Beast Snaggers, you had that on the side. This you could maybe argue Corsairs, but a lot of people might actually want to see more Aeldari, a bit more added now. We've only got a small range when it comes to Harlequins, and even more when it comes to Ynnari. Maybe if they focused a little bit more on Aeldari to update the Craft World range, maybe people would love to see some of these other Aeldari get fully explored in the different ways. Some unique models for them as well would be fantastic, but I think that might be very far away, if not going to happen. My total guess is that we probably will see the full range out by March. I just think that they've also announced some stuff with Age of Sigmar, that they've got some books coming out then as well, though it doesn't seem nearly as frequently as 40k, but I've got to say there's probably going to be other projects coming as well. They'll probably try and get this going for somewhere in the range of 4 to 8 weeks, that they'll probably want to stretch out the release for Aeldari. Either way, that is my thoughts when it comes to the new Aeldari stuff. And next up in the announcements, to quite a few people's surprise, is Tyranids, though I have to say a few people were quite thankful to get some news on this. So what I'd say in this one is it's largely a surprise because Chaos Space Marines, when they bring out these box sets, and we're looking at Eldritch Omens here, usually you would find that the two forces represented would get updated with their codexes. We saw that with Custodians and Genestealer Cult. Largely people thought this would be the same with Aeldari and Chaos Space Marines. It's also because, well, in previous rumours Chaos Space Marines were heavily mentioned, Tyranids were not. And then the Crusher Stampede felt like a very welcome stopgap of some new competitive rules to try out for Tyranids, and we thought, yeah, you know, that might be quite good in terms of getting them through until maybe late in the year we might find a new codex. But no, it looks like they might be getting one sooner rather than later. Now, one thing I would say is that we didn't really get anything confirmed other than after the Craft Worlds touchdown, we would be seeing Tyranids. What level that is going to be, I have no idea. We could be disappointed and just see a White Dwarf mention. We could see a whole new range, who knows. If I was to give you my expectations, it's not going to be much. I think it's going to be simply a new HQ unit or a utility unit, similar to Darkstrider when it came to Tau, and that will kind of be it. I would really hope to see the troops updated, largely the smaller models. Now, when it comes to Tyranids outside Genestealer Cult, we have not seen a new model since, I believe, 2017, possibly 2016. And although actually when you look at 5th and 7th edition, between them, 5th, 6th and 7th, I actually saw a huge amount of Tyranid models added or updated, but they were all larger ones, basically larger than Guard or Warriors. We never saw the troops updated, but it has now been 5 years with not even a single model at all. So I do think that at least one model should really be for Tyranids, but if anything, I would also like to see more or less just their troops updated. If they could get them, I would be delighted. Troops in HQ and a new codex, and I would be really delighted to see that as a Tyranid bit of an update. Lastly, we come to where is the Chaos Space Marines? So, full disclosure, I am a Chaos Space Marine player. They're probably my second favourite force. I'm a huge Drukhari player, but I currently don't have a force usable for them. Just I haven't got one painted, though I do have them all in grey models. But I do play Chaos Space Marines quite often when I get a chance. But I am becoming very frustrated with them. Currently, they are the oldest codex currently in use, with them being the second codex released in 8th edition. Now you can argue, there'll be people going, but you got a second ed edition around Vigilus, which yes, that did happen, but that really only added in a few updated data sheets, I think for Obliterators, Abaddon, Lord Discordant, and then you had your chance. But largely the rules were lagging behind, you know, your Legion rules and everything were not updated, and the core rules for Chaos Space Marines, with them not being updated, is showing a lot. For instance, a really unusual one is that I think their Legion rules only allows for like their infantry, their Hellbrutes and their Demon Princes. They don't have any sort of equivalent for vehicles, which the Space Marine Codex saw, and they have admitted, you know, they've sorted that out a long time ago. I think they actually fixed that even before 9th edition when their Codex got updated the first time round. But I could be wrong there. Either way, Chaos Space Marines, largely outdated Codex. One thing I would add though is that their Psychic Awakening they did receive is one of the best sort of supplements I have ever seen for Games Workshop. Huge amount of additions for each of the different legions. It was very thematic. I thought it was fantastic. But that being a great addition, we are now beginning to see the rules really showing their age badly. The other thing that was a bit unusual is that when you get these two Force box sets, you'd largely think this heralds a new codex. We saw it with Custodians and Genestealer Cult. We were thinking largely the same with Aeldari and Chaos Space Marines. And then there has been plenty of Chaos Space Marine rumours flying about, which was very interesting. And I mean, they are looking at quite a sizable new amount of models possibly. And then even Games Workshop, I believe, coming around the end of last year, they did say this would be a year of chaos. So where is this year of chaos if we're starting with a lot of Xenos? What are my thoughts to this? Well, this year we're going to see a narrative, 40k narrative come in. We have a cycle where I think we had, if you correct me, Dark Imperium in 2017, Then 2018 we had the AOS update, 2019 we had Psychic Awakening, and then in 2020 we had Indomitus, and then in 2021 we had an AOS update. So now we're looking at the Psychic Awakening equivalent, and I think we might see a new update in terms of a campaign for 40k. It's a very popular game. It's one of the ones I think that they might go down. Now, what direction they go for, I've got a few ideas on that one. The other competitor I would say to, and this seems highly unlikely because I think it's going to be the following year, is that we'd maybe see the old world stuff come out for Warhammer, and I just don't think that's even close to ready. That might be another year or two away. Keep in mind it was announced, I believe, October, November 2019, so it's been a few years yet. Either way, I don't think it's ready, but I could be wrong. So what do I think is going to happen? Well, with all the new rumours of models and a delay in the Codex, or at least not getting released with this box set, I think we're going to see it in the narrative for the summer. And there is also a heavy amount of rumours of World Eaters, which are we ready for Angron? Are we ready for the Red Angel? Well, I think narratively he would be fantastic. We may have Mortarion and Magnus. Magnus obviously being, well, Mortarion and Magnus both being very planning, Magnus more than Mortarion, but very, very different in terms of how they engage in warfare. Angron, who has been largely one of, if I think, other than recently, up until before 8th edition, was one of the more active Demon Primarchs to really attack. It would be fantastic to see a lot more aggressive side of attack. None of this sort of spreading plagues and trying to outmaneuver, it'll just be brutal combat. And that might be very, very interesting to see. I think a lot of people might be upset that we won't see Fulgrim, but that is kind of the way it's going to go. We might still see him. I hugely think that we will see Fulgrim and the Emperor's Children at some point, but the rumours are going towards World Eaters, and I'd be delighted to see some new Berserkers, see some Red Butchers, and of course Angron would be very, very cool. I think gameplay, that would work out quite well, because when we've got the Thousand Suns and Plague Marines, they're not the most aggressive of getting into combat, certainly not in the Thousand Suns case, although Scarab Cult do quite well, but World Eaters would be so different compared to them, where you might have had the Psychic and the Endurance there, the aggressive combat style, and I think Chaos players might really enjoy that. And secondly, there is the big rumour that 30k is going to get a big revamp. Maybe we'll see that in the summer as well, but they are wanting to maybe think about incorporating Demon Primarchs, mainly for the sheer fact in the narrative of 30k. That is going to be an eventual endgame. I don't think they're going to just stop at the Siege of Terror and then call it quits. There is rumour that they want to go a wee bit beyond that as well, and Demon Primarchs may appear there as well. Should they bring out new models for the Demon Primarchs in Forge World? Possibly. I mean, a Porter Rabble one would never go amiss, but maybe the smart decision for a lot of people would be like, maybe let's use the Demon Primarchs from 40k for certain legions, and that way if people are playing, for instance, both 30k and 40k, they can use both the model from that game, and then that'll save them a lot of money. And I could see that working out really well if you had the four main ones, which is of course Angron, Fulgrim, Mortarion and Magnus. They could be using 30k and 40k. That seems a little bit of a win to me. I know some people might want a brand new model to work out for that, but that would be quite expensive to do so. So in terms of narrative, I think it would be quite good to have an all-out attack from Angron. Gameplay, I think it would be very good for Chaos to have such an aggressive play style, and I think maybe in 30k, though maybe 30k players might be like, nope, we don't want anything to do with modern 40k in our game at all, which fair enough, that's how you want it, then that might work quite well for them as well. But this is all speculation when it comes to Chaos Space Marines. And that is it for my thoughts when it comes to Aeldari, Tyranids, and where is Chaos. When it comes to Aeldari, I don't think I'm adding too much there. We are now getting an idea of what's coming about. We've seen the new models. Largely, I think that will be it in terms of them. I don't think there'll be any more surprises, though we might get one or two. There is rumours of it, but I don't know if that will come to fruition. We now have seen the Codex, and we have now seen sort of what the content's going to be, which is cool. So if we get some extra models on top of it, very, very nice, but I'm not going to put my money on it yet, but there is rumours of it. Tyranids, well, I think people are going to be largely disappointed by this. I think we're going to just get a Codex and maybe a utility unit, a bit like how Tau got theirs. We're not going to see an update like Necrons or Craft World or Orcs. I think Tyranids may unfortunately be stuck with just one extra unit. Though I'd love to see the actual troops get updated. We'll have to wait and see. Again, I am just purely speculating on that part. And then we finally have Chaos, which I'm looking at this update of them being not getting a codex soon, though there's still no guarantee of that. It might actually be around the corner, but let's not say that. I think it's going to be largely a summer project. I think there's going to be a narrative towards 40k. I think we might see World Eaters from what the rumours are going about in that one. Maybe we'll see a lot more Chaos and big updates there. We do have the Chaos Demon book needing to be updated. Chaos Knights as well. We've just had Bellicor. I think there's plenty of potential for Chaos, but you're going to have to wait just that little bit longer. I know it's been a very, very long time since their codex got updated properly, and maybe you're feeling it's just not as fun to play them, but I am hopeful that a big summer release looking at Chaos might be well worth it. So thanks again for watching. Please comment, share, like and subscribe. Always very interested to hear people's thoughts when it comes to 40k, if you think Games Workshop are releasing the models well or not, the codexes, what's going on, where should they be going in the direction that. Are you hopeful for Chaos? Are you happy for Aeldari? What would you like to see in Tyranids? Let me know in the comments. So thanks again, and I'll see you in our Tabletop Assault Battle Report.